Hi, this is today's update from me. I'm just going to explain the type of thing that happened when I was 17. So, firstly, they use the word gang stalking online, but throughout Richmond upon Thames College, I was experiencing some kind of stalking. Then anyway, I used to go out to the pub in Richmond and I'd often get spiked with different things. Levi Belfield was one of the doormen in the pub which I frequently went to, the Bull and Bush in Richmond. Anyway, so one evening on the way home, I was approached by Matilde Donovan, who I only knew from nursery. I don't know what kind of involvement she's got in the stalking. But basically a skinhead type person or English Defence League type person held a gun at me. There was another woman there from Essex, both very narcissistic. I was really drunk and I just sort of thought it was quite funny and sat down against the wall by St. James's Church in Strawberry Hill, and then Matilde came over with a pair of scissors and cut parts of my upper lip off. There used to be a point there on my lip, and this is missing, you see. Anyway, a few weeks went by, getting spiked, Edward Shermer, accusing me of raping Hannah Hamed, who was a girl who was obsessed with me from Orleans. I telephoned Hannah and she didn't know what he was talking about. Anyway, weeks went by and I was then gang raped down the alleyway by St. James's Church in Strawberry Hill. And I've got some memories of it. They were showing me photographs of other children and men and women that they'd murdered, and in the pictures of the children they put some kind of wire or fishing tackle through parts of their faces and bodies. They also had my mum on the phone. I think they called my parents' landline and had it on mute so I could hear my mother. They had another guy dressed as my dad with my dad's shoes, with a red balaclava over his head. And yeah, two of the people there who were involved in raping me were the two owners of Best Kebab in Hampton Hill, who I think have spread malicious rumours about me around the area. The woman from Best Kebab stood in front of me, naked from the waist down, and I was gang raped. And then, I must have been hit over the head. There used to be no hair growing here on my head for about 15 years. I don't know if they let a gunshot off, like, at the side of my head or hit me with a hammer. But I woke up down the alleyway, looked at the floor, and at first I thought someone had poured a tin of red paint everywhere. And then I felt my head, and my hair was sticky with blood, and my scalp was peeled back actually here. So I carried on. I didn't really have the most supportive family. My dad's a gaslighter. My mum's a codependent woman. She does what she's told, thinks what my dad wants her to think. So I sort of sought help from my narcissistic group of friends, Mark McGraw, Edward Shermer, Nick Orford, David Kelly, Daniel Gillan, and I was in the Flicker and Firkin pub in Richmond, and I just remember saying to them, one of you has to take me to hospital, and they were laughing, and Mark and Edward actually punched me in the wound in the side of my head, laughing drunk. And while this was going on, there was a group of like BMP type people who I think might be associated with Matilda and Laura Clayton from Orleans, and they were just watching this sort of like smirking in a really aggressive way. I ended up in a real state and just said to a random girl in the Flicker and Firkin, who I thought was a random girl anyway, I don't know who the fuck she was, can you please take me to hospital? And she ended up just laughing and I think called me a rapist or something. I think this is like the theme is that, you know, they make you out to be the perpetrator of these things. Yeah, that's it for today. Cheers.